when two hearts met and had to say goodbye. Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman met and fell in love. He was a singer from Australia. She was a famous movie star. Together, they looked like the perfect couple. They smiled on red carpets and seemed so happy. But years later, after they split up, Keith finally told everyone the truth about what really happened. Keith always talked about his problems. He had tough times with being famous and being alone. When Nicole came into his life, she helped him a lot. "She was my light when everything was dark," Keith said. "Without her, I don't know if I'd be okay." But even though she helped him, their relationship wasn't easy. Nicole was healing from her marriage with Tom Cruise. That breakup hurt her a lot. Keith was fighting his own battles too. He was scared he might lose control of his life. In the beginning, they helped each other. They went to events together and said nice things about each other. But deep down, Keith felt like he wasn't good enough. Nicole was very careful and organized. Keith was more wild and free. At first, their differences were exciting, but slowly those same differences became hard to deal with. Friends said Keith sometimes felt small next to Nicole's big fame. "He loved her so much," a friend said, "but he felt like he lived in her world, not theirs together." Nicole tried to make their relationship strong, but Keith's lifestyle was hard to predict. He traveled a lot for concerts. Being apart so much started to hurt them. Their marriage had real love, but over time they started going different ways. Nicole focused on their two daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret. Keith put his feelings into his music. His songs started to sound sad, like he was hurting inside. When people found out they split up, fans were shocked. They seemed like they could survive anything. But the truth was, they had been falling apart quietly for years. It wasn't one big fight that ended them. It was like a slow drift apart. In an interview, Keith finally explained what went wrong. "Nicole taught me what real love is," he said softly. "But sometimes even love isn't enough. We tried really hard, but we were both fighting our own battles that had nothing to do with each other. Love can't fix everything." He talked about how being famous, being far apart, and personal problems created a storm they couldn't survive. "People see the fancy clothes and smiles," Keith said. "What they don't see is how lonely it is when you're living two separate lives." But even with all the pain, Keith spoke kindly about Nicole. "She'll always be important to me. No matter what happened, I'll always love her in my own way." These words touched millions of people. He wasn't angry or mean. He accepted what happened. Sometimes love stories end not because someone did something bad, but because people grow and change. Finding peace after goodbye. After the divorce, Keith stayed quiet for months. He didn't want to talk about it. Magazines made up stories about secret fights and problems, but Keith just focused on his music. People who went to his concerts noticed he seemed different. He looked more thoughtful. His voice carried sadness. His eyes told a story of someone who loved deeply and lost. During one concert, he stopped and said into the microphone, "Sometimes love teaches us lessons we didn't want to learn, but we still have to learn them." Everyone in the room went quiet. They could feel his pain. Nicole was also hurting, but she stayed strong on the outside. Friends said the breakup shook her hard. After her divorce from Tom Cruise, she thought she finally found forever with Keith. The end of this marriage hurt her in new ways, but she stayed graceful. She didn't give mean interviews or say bad things. She just stayed quiet and strong. Keith dealt with his pain through music. He wrote songs that showed every feeling: being mad, being sad, accepting it, and finally being thankful. "Every song I played was for her," he said, "even the sad ones." The truth Keith told wasn't just about losing love. It was about understanding himself. He admitted that for years he tried to be the perfect husband. He was afraid to show his problems. He was scared of losing Nicole. Nicole deserved the best of me, he said, but I was still figuring out who that person was. His honesty helped millions of people. They saw that love isn't always about forever. Sometimes it's about growing and changing. He said their marriage was never a fairy tale. There were hard times, disappointments, and two different worlds crashing together. We were both strong people, Keith said. But sometimes being strong doesn't mean you fit together. Sometimes it just means surviving together for a while before you need to grow apart. What surprised people wasn't what he said. It was how kindly he said it. He never blamed Nicole. He didn't sound angry or full of regret. Instead, he sounded grateful. She changed. Me, he said. She taught me that love is about patience and forgiveness. She taught me that even when things end, love doesn't have to die. It can change. Nicole also finally talked about it. In a magazine interview, she said, "Keith will always have a special place in my heart. Sometimes life gives us people who help us become who we're meant to be. He was one of those people for me." Healing and moving forward. Friends say Keith and Nicole still talk sometimes, mostly about their daughters. But what's most special is how peaceful they both seem now. Keith talked about getting help, healing, and learning to love himself. "I realized you can't give someone healthy love if you don't know how to love yourself first," he said. "I didn't understand that before. Now I do." He also talked about how men are taught not to cry or talk about feelings. "But I learned that real strength is being open about your feelings," he said. "Loving someone, losing them, and still wishing them well, that's real strength." Keith's music after the divorce became some of his best work. People say his new songs are beautifully sad, filled with memories of love that once burned bright. In one song he sings, "You taught me love doesn't last forever, but it can still be real. I lost the life we built together, but I found myself through you." Keith started spending more time alone, away from Hollywood parties. He focused on his daughters, his health, and writing songs at home. "Keith has grown up a lot," a close friend said. "He's not chasing fame anymore. He's looking for peace." Nicole kept acting in movies, playing characters who are strong and brave, just like her real life. "The characters I play now are all about staying strong after hard times," she said. "Maybe that's because I've learned what it means to stand up after falling apart." Both of them turned their pain into art. Even though they might never walk the same path again, they share a story that helps millions of people. Their story isn't about failing. It's about growing. Keith said it best. "Love doesn't always mean holding on. Sometimes it means letting go with kindness." And with those words, he closed a chapter of his life, not with anger, but with thanks for the woman who helped him become who he is today. The gift of love. Years later, both Keith and Nicole continued to do well. Keith made music that touched people's hearts. Nicole made movies and helped people in need. They both learned that even though their love story ended, the love they shared changed them forever. Keith once said, "Real love never dies. It just changes into something else. It becomes memories, lessons, and kindness we give to others." And that's the beautiful truth about their story. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And real love, even when it ends, leaves something beautiful behind.